Well, we're going to replace the back door. And since the door itself is in good shape, we're going to keep it. We're just going to get rid of this screen door and the jamb. There's a jamb down where the lock is all broke up. But before we start, I assume you have the basic hand tools for doing home repair. But one thing you do need is you need some kind of a sawzall. Get you some metal blades and wooden blades. Need a skill saw. .12-volt. Much more than that for a homeowner just doing repairs a couple times a year is more than enough. This one here's a 14, which I use it all the time. It's great. Then you have your router, and you need not just one, but a couple of good pry bars, because sometimes one's not enough. You need two for that extra hand that you might need. Definitely a couple of sawhorses, some kind of a table, because you're going to need that for some other stuff that you're going to have to do. What we're going to do, we're going to replace the jamb. And as you can see, this has got what they call a kerf jamb. It's got a little slot in there. Hopefully you can see that. And the weather strip goes up in there. And that way you don't have to use that brass weather strip as the old doors used. Plus, if it gets tore up, you just pop it out, pop some new ends. Real simple. Going to be using an adjustable threshold. You got some screws that you can use to adjust the door bottom up or down. That's what these screws right here are for. These are the best kind to use, because if your door settles or moves one way or the other, you can use this to adjust it to match the door. You can get these in different colors. You can get the aluminum finish, or you can get the brass looking finish. Is routers. Routers is something that you can need a lot in hanging doors. And you don't need to go out and buy the most expensive router on the market. A $29 router does just as good a job as a $300 router. The only difference is it's a lot lighter, and the most expensive ones have 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch collet for stuff around the house. Gosh, 1/4 inch, that's what they're talking about, where your bits fit to the router. This one has got 1/2 inch, but this is professional, and that's the difference. Is I need 1/2 inch shank bits every once in a while, because they're bigger and they're for different projects. But for around the home, gosh, 1/4 inch is fine. Plus there's thousands of different bits that you can get. And one thing you definitely need is you need that bearing, and it's going to be the exact same size as a router bit itself, because as you're running across the work, you're riding on the bearing, and the cutter is cutting up to the bearing itself, so you're not cutting past it, and that's what you need. Drill bits, you can buy just an assortment of these. This one here was, I think, around $29, and just about every bit that you need is in here. You need a 1-inch spade bit, and then you just need an assortment of other drill bits to set your hinges, set your the door locks. And the same with this stuff. If we're going to cut the header, we're just going to use a skill saw. I mean, we're not even going to use a miter saw, table saw, or anything. We're going to use just the basic hand tools, just so that it can be done. And the last thing, safety glasses. Now, I've got my happy go eating lunch glasses on, but I've got my other safety glasses. We're fixing to put them on. And so what we're going to do, we're going to use this door. We're going to build up a new jamb, and then we're going to replace the door unit. Okay, we're at this point now to where we can see the overall of our jamb, especially the top, to see if we have any room to move up, so in case we need to add some or take away some for the top of the door. So we'll get our measurement now, and then we're going to start putting our jamb together, because you don't want to take the door out to get the jamb built. Okay, the width of the door is 31 3/4. So what we'll do is we'll make the top header, this short piece, we'll cut it 31 7/8. You can always knock it apart a little bit, but if you cut the top piece too big, you can't squash it together. So always give yourself a little room to move it one way or the other. And then the height of the door, the jamb, is 81 1/2. So we're going to see what we've got. So the first things we do is we take this, we'll cut these down to 81 1/2. One end of the jamb has got an angle cut, that's for the threshold. Other end of the jamb, it's got a straight cut, 1 1/4 inches thick from here to here. This is where your top piece goes. Take that, slides right in there. Like that. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what I'm doing, trying to hold this thing and put it together for you, but we have to put it together now before we get our hinge pattern down. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the header piece and the threshold piece, the 31 and whatever, 31 7/8 I think it was. You want to true up one end before you cut it to length. In this business, you never assume anything. Okay, got our header piece cut. Since this is the easiest one to do, take this, get your threshold, Lay it right on top, or use a hacksaw. Don't use a skill saw. Use a hacksaw to cut the aluminum across there. Because if you get a piece of aluminum in your eyes, you're going to have to go see a doctor. Because that stuff is so hot, when it hits your eye, it's going to melt in your eye. Okay, the best way to cut this with a hacksaw is lay it all the way directly across so that you get a line straight across. Okay, see what we got here. Yep, 31 7/8. Now we need to cut the length on our jambs, and no matter what, you want to make sure both side jambs are the same. You can adjust the door to it. Now you want to make sure that you've got the angle cut part at the bottom, because this is where you're going to cut in for your threshold to fit in. Don't cut the straight part at the top, because that needs to be like that. Me, I have to measure it 5 or 6 times. I can't measure twice and cut because I'm always wrong. Yep, 81 1/2. Before you do anything else, take the other one, mark it. Okay. 81 1/2. 81 1/2. Now we'll whack the ends off. All right. Now we got to take this, and being that we cut the angle part, this part here off the end, all we've got now is just a straight cut. So now we've got to come in here and cut this back with a hacksaw. All we're going to cut off is just this area right in here, so that we can this threshold will go right down in here. And the way that goes,